Act 1. Hook, Picture. This a small kid, maybe 10, standing at a polished bank counter in a town that thinks it's too busy to notice anything that doesn't look like money. He wears a jacket 2 sizes too big, shoes with soles peeling like old stickers, and he holds a thin brown envelope like it's the only thing keeping him from disappearing. He says, plain as day, "Excuse me, I'd like to check my balance." The laugh comes first, a sharp public, the sound of a place deciding who belongs and who doesn't. That laugh is the hook, and it hits like a match in a dry room. Everyone leans in. Yeah, that happened. Act 1, Setup. His name is Isaiah Turner. He's 10 small for his age, but steady because he's learned steadiness. His grandmother Mabel tucked that envelope into his small hands before she died, a bank card, photocopied paperwork, a letter in handwriting that trembled but did not quit. She told him, "Carry yourself, baby, even when they try to make you small," and he carried it. The branch is Harborview Savings in downtown Maplewood. Marble floors, soft elevator music, men with expensive watches. The branch manager, Gregory Hale, smells of cologne and entitlement, and the tellers are slick, practiced, comfortable in the belief that the world owes them nothing but polite smiles. Gregory doesn't ask Isaiah a question. He inspects him like a catalog item, then performs for the room. "Check your account," he says loud enough that the laughers get the cue. "We're not a charity." People chuckle. An older woman clutches her patent leather purse like armor. A security guard shifts his weight, shoulders tense but quiet. Isaiah's voice shakes, but he holds the envelope up anyway. "My grandma opened this for me. She passed. She left this to me." He shows the letter, the card, platinum heritage embossed in a way that should stop tongues. It doesn't. It just makes the scene juicier for the crowd. Act 2, the pressure builds. They move him to the corner, the quarantine seat by the janitor's closet, and the lobby becomes a theater. People parade by with statements of self-importance, deposits, mortgage checks, brunch reservations. An older woman, Claire Benson, notices something odd in her chest when she looks at Isaiah like a pinprick of shame, but she covers it, turns away. The security officer, Mark Delgado, stands nearby. He's been on the job long enough to memorize the quiet compromises that keep paychecks coming. He meets Isaiah's eyes once and looks down because surviving is a practical thing. Silence covers the room. Gregory interrogates like he's on camera, each line sharper than the last. "Where are your parents? Where's a guardian?" Any ID, Isaiah offers his school card. Mabel's letter, the bank card with his name on it. Gregory handles the school ID like it's a foreign object, drops it back on the countertop, and the pen clatters like a verdict. He conjures the same old script. Dead grandma sob story, con artist. He presses the boy with absence, with assumptions, with the public performance of moral superiority. "We can't let people take advantage," he says, and the room nods as if they've agreed on scripture. Time stretches. 15 minutes. 20. Isaiah reads Mabel's letter again and again. The words are a rope. "You are worth more than they will tell you." His phone buzzes. Uncle Daniel Pierce texts, "Running late, be there soon." Isaiah breathes like he's holding a plank. Every minute is a small avalanche of judgment. The thicker the lobby's carpet, the thinner his chances feel. Act 2, the turning point. Then the world tilts. A black SUV eases into the lot, a quiet presence that makes people look up. Daniel Pierce steps out. Sharp suit, calm face. Founder of Evergreen Ridge Capital, a man who doesn't shout to be heard. He's Isaiah's uncle. Yes, but that's not the point. The point is who Daniel is in this town, the kind of person whose single voicemail can rearrange careers. He walks to the bench where Isaiah sits and folds down to his level, no fanfare, just a steady hand on the kid's shoulder. "Hey, champ," he says, "I'm here." You can feel the room change. The automatic doors swallow the lobby's buzz. Gregory's smirk falters when he recognizes the name. A regional director, Claire Anders, who'd been rushing in for a meeting, sees Daniel and freezes, because business calendars rearrange themselves around names like his. Daniel doesn't need to raise his voice. He places Isaiah's hand in his, and they walk back into the center of the room like they own the space and in this town that matters. Daniel asks for the account to be pulled up. The screen hums. The number stabs the air, $3,510. Nearly $400,000, the product of a teacher's lifetime of scrimping and saving. People who laughed minutes ago go white because the ledger doesn't lie. Gregory's face collapses into something smaller than any of his insults. If I had known, he stammers, and Daniel stops him with a look that carries cold truth. That's the problem. You didn't know, so you decided he wasn't worth your courtesy. Act 3. The Confrontation and Aftermath. What happens next is business, recorded weeks later in emails. HR files a smear of public statements, but you feel it in the room. Gregory is escorted to the back office, put on suspension, then let go. Claire Anders doesn't just offer apologies, she rewrites policy. Mandatory bias training. Anonymous reporting hotlines. Mystery shoppers. New service timelines. The bank slaps a small plaque by the door. Every customer deserves respect. It reads sanitizing, but it's a start. Claire Benson files a witness statement. Marcus Delgado, the security guard, walks him to the parking lot afterward and says, "Next time, I'll say something. It's a vow that costs nothing on paper, but everything in courage." Daniel doesn't enjoy revenge. He pushes for restitution and for Mabel Turner's name to mean something that outlives the newspaper cycle. He funds a scholarship for aspiring teachers from underserved neighborhoods, establishing the Mabel Turner Educational Fund, and asks Isaiah to be part of the selection committee when he's older. Isaiah keeps those thrift store shoes, not as a trophy but as a memorial. They sit on his shelf years later, like relics worn and holy. The man who filmed the moment, the bystander who once laughed and posted the clip for clicks, deletes his original laugh and point video, replaces it with a confession. "I was wrong. I filmed it. I laughed. I was part of it." That confession goes viral too, the sort that makes people uncomfortable and maybe, if we're lucky, thoughtful. The story pushes conversations into living rooms, into comment sections, into school lunch tables. Why do we default to suspicion? Who gets the benefit of doubt and who does not? Act 3. Victory and the Open Question. 8 years. Isaiah walks across a sunlit campus with a diploma in his future, not because money is magic, but because love was steadfast. He wears his worn shoes sometimes because they remind him of what held him when the world tried to fold him into a stereotype. The scholarship helps a dozen kids get into teaching programs. Marcus Delgado becomes a school resource officer who knows he can't be quiet anymore. Claire Anders' reforms ripple through other branches. Gregory Hale, he's someone else's cautionary tale. But here's the part that keeps gnawing at me. And the part I want you to argue about in the comments: would any of this have happened if Isaiah didn't have an uncle who could call the shots justice landed that day because power amplified an outrage? That's true, and it's ugly. It's also true that small acts of human courage, a woman who eventually confesses a security guard who decides he'll not be quiet the next time, mattered too. So, which is it? Does real change rely on having power on your side, or can collective conscience reach the same result without it? I don't have a clean answer. Closing call to action. If this story lands like a punch, then say something about it. Tell me if you've ever watched and stayed silent, or if you stood up and felt the room turn against you. If you saw someone judged by their shoes, speak up, not for me, for the next kid like Isaiah. Drop a comment with your take. Was justice served because of power, or because people finally decided to stop pretending they didn't see? Share a moment you regret, or a moment you're proud of. Let this be a place where we stop being part of the problem and start being the people who fix it.